choice.
Thank you. Sri Ripun Boda. Sri Jairam Ramesh ji.
How much time do I have, sir?
Pardon?
How much time do I have?
No speaker.
Thank you, Vice Chairman, sir. Sir, my good friend Rakesh Sinha is the single greatest user of the Parliament Library. He is there every day. He is a voracious reader. But I am disappointed that he has not read the economic survey that was tabled by the Finance Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, on the 4th of July 2019. And in that economic survey, there is Chapter 7. It is called India's Demography at 2040, Planning Public Good Provision for the 21st Century. So every member of Parliament should read this. Not only Rakesh Sinha. Every member of Parliament should read this to understand what is the current situation as far as family planning is concerned in our country. Sir, I want to state categorically that India is a success story in family planning through democratic means at low levels of per capita income. Our family planning started systematically and organizationally in 1967, when Srimati Indira Gandhi, in March of 1967, appointed India's most eminent demographer, Dr. Sitapati Chandrasekhar, who was a member of Parliament in this House representing the state of Tamil Nadu. He was the first minister for family planning in India. He had to face tremendous opposition. He came up with the idea of the red inverted triangle. He came up with the idea of hum do, hamare do. He came up with the idea of Nirodh and Hindustan latex, which my friend Alphonse knows about. He had to face tremendous political opposition. But Dr. Chandrasekhar, who also was responsible for the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act of 1971, under the leadership of Indira Gandhi, launched India's family planning program. And sir, what is the situation today? Kerala was the first state in India to reach replacement levels of fertility in 1988. Tamil Nadu became the second state in 1993. The undivided state of Andhra Pradesh became the third state in the year 2000. Karnataka followed soon thereafter. And according to the National Family Health Survey 5, which the Health Minister knows and which the Health Minister himself has released, what does the National Family Health Survey 5 reveal? It shows that India as a whole has reached already replacement levels of fertility. There are only 5 states in India. There is Jharkhand, there is Madhya Pradesh, there is Rajasthan, and there is Uttar Pradesh. 4 states. They will reach replacement levels of fertility by the year 2025. The only state that will take longer for reaching replacement levels of fertility is Bihar. But Bihar also will reach replacement levels of fertility by the year 2028. So what does replacement level of fertility mean in simple English? When a country reaches a fertility rate, a total fertility rate of 2.1, it means that after 2 generations, which means roughly 50 years, after 2 generations, population will remain stable or will begin to decline. That is why in the decade beginning 2030, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Telangana will not only face stable population, but will also begin to show declining population. This is the reality of India. Rakesh Sinha ji's bill is based on a completely flawed assumption that India's family planning program has not worked. So, barring the most unfortunate period of the emergency, India's family planning has been based on democratic means, through female literacy, through female education, through provision of family planning services. In fact, Tamil Nadu's success story, which my friend Mr. Tiruchur Shiva referred to, has a long history. They had a chief secretary called T.V. Antony, who is considered to be one of the pioneers of the family planning program. And half jokingly, T.V. Antony used to be called tubectomy, vasectomy Antony. So, Rakesh Sinha ji, today's situation is entirely different. India has succeeded. India has succeeded at low levels of per capita income. And India has succeeded by not following the Chinese model. China followed in 1979 one-child norm. But today China is implementing three-child norm. So let us not criticize ourselves for family planning. We have succeeded.
Very well.
Sir, but there are problems. And I want to highlight 4 issues, which have been highlighted in this chapter, which I would like every member of parliament to read. First, India is now facing a problem of aging. In 2011, 8% of India was over the age of 60. By the year 2040, 16% of India will be over the age of 60. 25% of Tamil Nadu will be over the age of 60. 28% of Kerala will be over age of 60. 16% all India will be over the age of 60. So India has also an aging problem which we have to address. It has implications for social security. It has implications for pension. It has implications for retirement age. And I would request the Honorable Health Minister to address this issue, the long-term implications of an aging population before we become a rich country. We are becoming an aging population before we have become a rich country. So the second problem, which my good friend Mr. Shiva referred to, is the regional distribution of our population. Today, the 6 North Indian states, UP, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, Odisha, the broad central Indian, North Indian belt, accounts for roughly 50% of India's population. But by the year 2030, these states will account for 60% of India's population. Population is increasing in the north. Jobs are increasing in the south. So there is naturally migration. And I welcome migration. I want people from the north to migrate to the south. I want people from the south to migrate to the west. I want people from the west to migrate to the east. 1 out of every 3 Indians is a migrant, Mr. Vice Chairman, sir. And we all applaud international remittances, but we don't recognize internal remittances. Almost $7 to $10 billion a year goes from Kerala to Jharkhand, goes from Tamil Nadu to Orissa, goes from Karnataka to Bihar. So internal remittances are very important. However, the issue is what will happen to representation. Because everything in India is based on population. Money from center to state goes on population. Niti Aayog, population. Finance Commission, population. Sir, we should not penalize the early pioneers in family planning. We should not penalize Kerala. We should not penalize Tamil Nadu. We should not penalize Karnataka. We should not penalize Andhra. We should not penalize Maharashtra. We should not penalize Punjab. These were the states that showed the way for India. But these are the states that will have lesser MPs, lesser resources, lesser tax devolution. Now, sir, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, in his enormous wisdom, addressed this issue by postponing it to 2026. So delimitation has been postponed to 2026. But we have to bite the bullet. 2026 is only 4 years from now. So this implications for political representation from the changing regional mix of our population is something that the health minister may want to address. But it is beyond the health minister's purview. This parliament has to debate. Parliament has to debate how not to penalize the South Indian and the West Indian states that have been success stories in family planning. Sir, I've already mentioned the aging issue. I've mentioned the regional share of population. I want to raise a third issue related to our family planning and demographics, which does not get the attention it deserves. Sir, it is natural in every country that life expectancy for women is more than life expectancy for men. In fact, the characteristic of a developed country is a country where the life expectancy of women is more than life expectancy for men. That is what is happening in Kerala. That is what has happened in Tamil Nadu. A country develops, a society progresses, life expectancy for women is more than life expectancy for men. So I'm talking of life expectancy at birth. The gap between the male life expectancy and female life expectancy is very small at birth. But when you reach the age of 60, the gap increases. When you reach the age of 80, the gap becomes even more. So in my own family, in my own immediate family, I have an aunt who is 100. I have another aunt who is 98. I have a mother who is 93. I have another aunt who is 89. All single women, all widowed women, but belonging to well-to-do sections of society. But what do you do with single women who do not have social capital, who do not have well-to-do families? And sir, a situation will come. I did some rough calculations. Roughly 10% of the population of women in our country will be single women, divorced women, widowed women, abandoned women, but single women, women as heading households. Now, this is a deep problem of social security, which we have not addressed. It has problems for physical security, but it has also problems for social security. Now, this again is not something only for the health ministry. It has to be addressed by the government at large. But I think we must, as a society, as parliament, come to recognize the implications of having a growing population of aged women who will find it difficult to negotiate the complexities of our society. Men can manage, but single women, as it is for women, life is difficult, but for single women, it will be even more difficult, and for single aged women, it will be even more difficult. So, sir, I won't take any more of your time. I just want to thank Rakesh Sinha ji
You had another
for
point.
at least flagging this
You
issue.
said 4 points, but now...
I
you-
wish he had done a little homework on the facts and not allowed ideology to overtake the reality. But I understand his concerns. I meet him frequently in the library. We can have a discussion. But I would request all my other members, I would request the health minister to please circulate to all members of parliament the results of the National Family Health Survey, which your ministry has released, state-wise, which gives the true picture of the current state of demographics in our country. So India does not have anything to feel defensive about. As I said, thanks to the leadership of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, she set up a cabinet committee on family planning in March of 1967. And thanks to the leadership of Dr. Sitapati Chandrasekhar, who was a protege of Mr. Kamaraj. It was Mr. Kamaraj who brought him into the Rajya Sabha in April of 1964. He served here for one term in 1970 and later on became Vice Chancellor of Annamalai University. So we have this tradition. We must commit ourselves as a house, as a society, that we will deepen democratic ways of dealing with our problems of demography. Not coercive means, not mandatory means, but democratic means. Through means of education, through means of empowerment, through means of providing family planning services, without demonizing one section of society or the other. So this is a very sensitive human issue. It goes into choices, it goes into issues relating to families, and I think the political debate in India, unfortunately, has become far too polarized, far too politicized, particularly in the area of family planning. And I wish very much that we come back to facts, we come to recognize what India has achieved. India has achieved a great, great sacrifice. We are not a rich country, and yet we have reached levels of fertility that are being seen in Western Europe and Scandinavia. That is not a small, mean achievement, sir. That's a major achievement, and I think with the type of leadership that we have now in the Ministry of Health, we should take this forward, we should sustain this success story and deal with all its implications, whether it is the regional distribution and its impact on political representation, which Shivaji has raised, whether its implications on social security, and most of all, sir, the problem of aging, which is already here, which is going to deepen, and which is going to call for a review on all our policies relating to retirement and social security. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.